Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now October 18th of 2021. Now, as we get closer to the release of the Book of Boba Fett series, a lot of fans are also looking forward to The Mandalorian Season 3, which is currently already filming as we speak by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, I am on Twitter at Mike01 if you guys want to go ahead and give me a follow on there. We do post a couple of fun and entertaining things from time to time and interact with you guys further and just really dive more into Star Wars. So, moving beyond all of this, we do know that Disney CEO Bob Chapek is very much hard at work on really regulating the franchise, making all of these major adjustments. And what I mean by this is that, well, they are adding in tons of Star Wars legends and mixing that in with the current Disney canon in order to kind of deliver this new experience for not just the TV shows, but also the new Star Wars films that are on the horizon. Now, like I say, I love the fact that they are bringing Star Wars primarily to television. I like that idea because you can explore the characters more in depth. In a way, the Kenobi series kind of worked out better than the movie, but I always say this, is that Kenobi would have been a better and more fun experience in the movie theaters because you're around fans. You're hearing the fans' reactions, you're watching it on a very large screen, and it just feels different, right? It's all about that feeling. Now, moving on to, of course, what's been going on between Chapek and creator George Lucas. Alright, a lot of things are happening right now behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm. They are preparing some announcements for Disney Plus Day on November 12th, as well as other announcements that come our way at Star Wars Celebration next year. That's really going to get the ball rolling for this new take on how Star Wars is going to be handled by George, John, Dave, and Bob. Now, on top of all of this, what's really intriguing is that with Disney and Lucasfilm already preparing several projects to be unveiled at Star Wars Celebration next year that will fill in the roadmap of the franchise, both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have been very active in developing their new shows like Mando Season 3 and the Boba Fett series that debuts later this year. However, it's noted that many plans are being put into place behind the scenes for the future of Star Wars to succeed. One significant plan by Disney CEO Bob Chapek has to do with the new Star Wars movies that are also in development. One major addition to the fourth Star Wars trilogy is that creator George Lucas is set to join in as a co-writer for the new Star Wars era of the franchise that will dive into a brand new timeline that fans have never witnessed before. One thing that people do need to know is that George Lucas is the one who proposed this new Star Wars trilogy to be used in the Star Wars canon and eventually convinced Bob Chapek some time ago to greenlight it. Further, it's described that Bob Chapek is set to make this major announcement that Lucas will be joining in as a co-writer for the new Star Wars trilogy that is going to actually focus on the Sith royal family, as well as a brand new portion of the galaxy that has never been explored that is being dubbed simply as the Forbidden Region, that is set to be even more mysterious than the Unknown Regions, which was teased in Episode 9. Now, the new films are set to use many of Lucas's old concepts of the prequel trilogy films that never even made it to the concept art stage, that Lucas will be throwing in tons of original ideas from the prequels to become part of his new trilogy in order to give it a unique feel. Now, Lucas is also said to not direct the new Star Wars films, but will be a co-writer with, of course, one or two other writers for the new movies that will be a big deal for the fandom. The plan by Disney is to make these films a large scale and feel even more expansive than the prequels way back then. Lucas is also pre-planning to insert some of the familiar worlds from the prequel trilogy movies to be used in the new trilogy that will give fans a different view of some of these places. Now, additionally, separate from all of this, Bob Chapek is described to hold a great interest or strictly allowing experienced writers and directors to become a part of this new trilogy that is going to be separate from the planned episodes 10, 11, and 12 in the future. Chapek is said to only want A-list actors or well-knowns and very well-talented directors to lead these new projects in order to make these major blockbuster hits in theaters. However, Chapek is said to also be the one who pushed for George Lucas to become a co-writer for these new movies, where they will be announced at Celebration next year and are going to be given its own name, with each film now being called a Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3 instead of an episode. in order to differentiate it from the Skywalker Saga episode format and the Mandalorian chapters format. The new trilogy will be dark side focused as a set of films in order to deliver that dark and gritty tone to the overall fandom that they have been asking for a very long time now, and they will be delivering that once again. So, as you can see in episode 9, they had some of those dark tones thrown in there from time to time, and it really wasn't all that consistent. In fact, I will say, I've talked about my experience with episode 9 and my feelings on the film. Overall, I thought it was a very on and off situation. I only liked a handful of scenes out of that movie, but the movie in and on itself, I don't think it was all that impressive, to tell you guys the truth. I really don't think so. It really was very lazy at times, the way that it was written, and you can see the inconsistencies based on how many rewrites they went through and how many different scenes they had to reshoot because of Kathleen Kennedy. We've talked about this many times before. But when we go ahead and dive further into the fact that George Lucas is going to be a co-writer for these new Star Wars films, and the fact that these new movies were proposed by George Lucas to Bob Chapek some time ago, we're talking about a good time ago, before episode 9 even dropped, and how they are going to be dark side focused only. That, to me, I think is a very exciting route to go. The fact that they are going to focus strictly on dark side characters, I love that. Now, when you go ahead and dive into this situation, where you have Leslie Headland trying to do the same exact thing with the Acolyte TV series, that's going to also be a very dark side oriented themed show, with some Jedi involved here and there, because it is going to be in the High Republic era. I'm still not looking forward to that show. I really do believe it's going to be a very big failure based on the approach by Kathleen Kennedy and Leslie. But hey, no footage has arrived yet. I can't judge it completely. That's just the reality of things, right? So, when we go ahead and also examine the fact that Chapek is the one who actually is going to be calling the shots on only using experienced writers and directors for these new films. So what does that mean? Well, that means that we could very well get, directors like, just as an example, directors and writers out there like James Cameron, or maybe people out there that are very well known in Hollywood that are going to become a part of, this new Star Wars trilogy that's really going to give fans a brand new take on the franchise. I think the fact that they are aiming for A-list actors to boost familiarity with actors by fans, and the fact that they are only looking for experienced writers and directors, it gives them this motive that they can actually have this assurance, right? That it is going to be at least above average. And that's their aim goal right now. They really want to make sure that it's going to be nothing like the sequel trilogy. It's not going to be a failure in terms of how it's going to be received by the hardcore fans. And I think that at the end of the day, we all know what George Lucas wants. We all know what George Lucas loves. And he wants to keep that vision intact, that philosophy of Star Wars that he created back in 1977 to be used in the new Star Wars movies. So props to him for really pushing for this to actually move forward, and we will be learning more about this next May. So keep your eyes open for Star Wars Celebration. That's when they're going to officially announce these 3 new movies that are going to be divided up into a Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. So like I say, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.